Skill Development Council, your gateway to digital transformation. We are an independent, vendor-neutral ISO IEC 1024 accredited certification body committed to helping individuals and organizations stay future-ready in a rapidly evolving world. GSDC is accredited by the Accreditation Board for International Certification Bodies, ABICB. For 10 years, we've certified more than 100,000 professionals across Europe, North America, Asia, and Africa, with our offices in Switzerland, the United States, and Singapore. Our programs are recognized by leading publications and podcasts, including Forbes, Tech Target, People Managing People. We offer 100-plus globally accredited certifications across emerging and in-demand domains like generative AI and emerging technologies, HR and learning and development, project management and agile Scrum, ISO and quality management, information security. Each GSDC certification is designed to empower professionals with confidence and help organizations stay competitive in a fast insights from 100-plus global advisory board members representing top universities and leading. Our certified professionals are trusted by 500-plus multinational companies, which help unlock better roles, faster promotions, and delivering cutting-edge expertise. We partner with 100-plus authorized training partners and 50-plus universities, supporting talent across all career levels, from entry-level to executive leadership. As a GSDC member, you gain lifelong access to interactive webinars, hands-on workshops, SME panels, and global summits. Join a vibrant community of 25,000-plus members and be part of our global events. Check our reviews on Trustpilot. We're trusted worldwide for quality, support, and impact. Whether you're aiming higher or building tomorrow's talent, GSDC is your partner in purposeful growth and impactful leadership. Visit our website to explore our offerings. GSDC, share the best practices and learn from the best practices. Welcome to the Global Skill Development Council, your gateway to digital transformation. We are an independent, vendor-neutral ISO IEC 1024 accredited certification body committed to helping individuals and organizations stay future-ready in a rapidly evolving world. GSDC is accredited by the Accreditation Board for International Certification Bodies, ABICB. For 10 years, we've certified more than 100,000 professionals across Europe, North America, Asia, and Africa, with our offices in Switzerland, the United States, and Singapore. Our programs are recognized by leading publications and podcasts, including Forbes, Tech Target, People Managing People. We offer 100-plus globally accredited certifications across emerging and in-demand domains like generative AI and emerging technologies, HR and learning and development, project management and agile Scrum, ISO and quality management, information security. Each GSDC certification is designed to empower professionals with confidence and help organizations stay competitive in a fast-changing landscape. Every certification is crafted with insights from 100-plus global advisory board members representing top universities and leading industry experts. Our certified professionals are trusted by 500-plus multinational companies, which help unlock better roles, faster promotions, and delivering cutting-edge expertise. We partner with 100-plus authorized training partners and 50-plus universities, supporting talent across all career levels, from entry-level to executive leadership. As a GSDC member, you gain lifelong access to interactive webinars, hands-on workshops, SME panels, and global summits. Join a vibrant community of 25,000-plus members and be part of our global events. Check our reviews on Trustpilot. We're trusted worldwide for quality, support, and impact. Whether you're aiming higher or building tomorrow's talent, GSDC is your partner in purposeful growth and impactful leadership. Visit our website to explore our offerings. GSDC, share the best practices and learn from the best practices. Welcome to the Global Skill.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's session. Very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are watching this session from. We'll be starting this session now. Please allow me a minute so I can share my screen and we can start with the session. And here we go. I hope you all can see my screen. And this is Preetham, a moderator for today's session. Please feel free to reach out to me if you have any question or concern. You can reach out to me over the chat box, and I'm very happy to assist you all. So that said, I would love to give you all a very warm welcome to our series called Enterprise Copilot AI in Action, Driving Productivity with Microsoft, GitHub, and Copilot Studio, with a theme that is empowering teams with Copilot, the future of work at enterprise scale. And what excites this series more, we have this incredible panel of experts lined up for this week, which is happening from 23rd to 27th February 2026, with the same time slot that you have joined right now, which is 7:30 according to Central, 9:30 p.m. Singapore, 7 p.m. Indian Standard Time, and 8:30 a.m. Eastern. So let me tell you all, this series is scheduled till 20th March 2026. So please do join us. This is scheduled on the same time zone. If there's any changes, accordingly, I'll let you know. So before I could hand over the session to our speaker today, I would love to quickly introduce our hosting organization, GSDC. We're known as Global Skill Development Council. We are vendor agnostic, vendor neutral. We are globally recognized certification body. And I'm very proud to inform you all that we're accredited by ABICB, and we do have 100 plus certification portfolio with us. We have certified more than 250,000 professionals worldwide so far. Also, we have 500 plus subject matter experts. They work with us closely to help us with our programs, exams, and to design all our deliverables. And also, we do have 100 plus authorized training partners. We are associated with more than 1,000 plus multinational corporates, 500 Fortune companies, and 50 plus universities across the globe. As I mentioned that we do have 100 plus authorized training partner. Yes, we do have training partners across all the regions like Asia, Africa, Canada, America, and many other countries. So a big thanks to our training partners and those who have joined the Slot Training Partner channel. In case if you're looking for any training program for yourself, feel free to reach out to our training partners to have an inquiry about it. You'll find all the contact details shortly in the chat box. A special thanks to our official media partner, World Press Hub. They cover all our events and press releases. So I would love to introduce you all, specifically those who have joined us for the first time. This is the GSTC AI Studio, where this is the platform where we are providing 100 plus live sessions on AI, which is led by global experts, where you'll be getting 45 minutes of live impactful sessions along with the hands-on learning, where you'll be also getting opportunity to apply all the concept that you have learned in that particular session. And in case if you get any doubts, all questions that will be resolved instantly with the help of our subject matter experts. So this training is aligned with the industry standards for the job ready skills. So do grab this opportunity, as this is the platform where you'll be learning from the AI leaders around the world. If you want to know more about GSTC AI Studio and their benefits, kindly get in touch with our learning advisors for the further help. I'll share the contact details shortly in the chat box. So as I mentioned in my previous slide, we do have 100 plus certification portfolio. So our certification portfolio covers almost each domain like learning, development, HR, generative AI, agentic AI, emerging technologies, ISO lead auditor, implementer, project management, PMO, agile DevOps, SRE, cybersecurity, digital transformation, and so on. So this certification is specifically designed for all the professionals who want to upskill themselves and who are really looking to stay industry relevant in this AI era, right? If you want to know more information regarding this certification program, kindly get in touch with a learning advisor, or you can visit our website, which is mentioned below, www.gsdcouncil.org. So what all benefits you'll be getting if you opt out a certification from GSTC, you will become GSTC's member for a lifelong. With that, you'll be getting certificate upgrade. You will be having access to all our workshop boot camps and free access to all our exclusive learning program that we have. With that, you'll be getting implementation resources, speaker invites, and newsletter. If you want to understand more about these benefits in a better way, reach out to our learning advisors or check our website for more information. You will find all the details and the website, everything in the chat box shortly. And here is, without further delay, I would love to introduce our today's speaker, Joydeep Kanjilal. So Joydeep is a Microsoft Most Valuable Professional MVP, recognized for 6 consecutive years 2007 till 2012 and again in 2025. He is an accomplished speaker, author, and technology leader with over 25 years of IT experience, including 2 decades specializing in Microsoft NET. He has delivered talks at international conferences and advised organizations globally on building scalable, secure, and high performance enterprise applications. An author of 9 books and hundreds of articles across leading platforms such as InfoWord and InfoQ, his expertise spans software architecture, cloud native development, agile DevOps, and modern distributed system. And let's give him a warm welcome as he'll be taking us today with a topic that is AI agent for architecture review. Thank you so much, Joydeep, for joining us today. You can have the handle of the virtual mic now. A warm welcome to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Ritam. Thank you. Thanks for the introduction. Thank you all. A warm welcome to all of you to join this session. So today we will discuss about how AI is used for reviewing architecture, software architectures. But before that, we will have a an introduction on what actually. Just a second, and let me present my screen. Yeah, I hope you all can see my screen. So the agenda for this session is, the title is using AI agent for architecture review, and the agenda comprises of the challenge that we face when we do the architecture reviews manually. Introduction to AI agents, how AI agents can evaluate architectures against the best practices or the best defined practices, how we can take advantage of AI agents to review a particular framework based on the predefined guidelines as outlined by Microsoft in the Azure well-architected frameworks and the 6 pillars like cost of optimization, security, reliability, performance efficiency, operational excellence, and sustainability. And we will also discuss about the AI agent architecture and its capabilities. Now, before we dive deep into how AI agent can how we can leverage AI agent for maybe for even designing our architecture as also reviewing it. Let us have a quick review of, a quick look at the basics of software architecture. Like, it is a high-level design structure and organization of a system that acts as a blueprint, and it comprises of components that are related to each other. They may be tangled, may not be tangled, but because it depends. Because based on the entanglement of the components, we say that the architecture is tightly coupled or loosely coupled. So we will come to that later. And the key aspects are the system components and the behavior, fundamental decisions, non-functional requirements like say caching, exception handling. So in architecture, we have to address 2 types of requirements. One is the functional requirements and one is the non-functional requirements. The functional requirements comprises your business logic and also how the components will be interacting with one another. And the non-functional requirements, they are those which will be used across all the layers of the architecture of the application that will be following this architecture. So maybe you might be using caching in your business layer to cache data for fast storage and retrieval. You might be using exception handling in your layers. You might be using logging. So these are all non-functional requirements because they are needed, but they don't add to any business functionality. And of course, the architectural patterns, there are many patterns and styles. and software design. So once you have the blueprint ready, so let me put it this way. So your architecture comes first, followed by design. Unless you have architecture in place, you cannot go ahead with design, because once your template, the blueprint is ready, then only you can conceptualize, plan, and define the structure of the components. How they, I mean, how. So you come up with the low level design, how your classes interact, how your interfaces interact, how they are related to each other, then how your business process will be defined and everything. So basically, in design, you have, I mean, two types of design. One, which is a bit high level, the comprising of the main components, and the other is a detailed design that comprises of the algorithms, the data structures, the internal logic, and etc. So the intent of software design is uh, to provide, I mean, to define the how the entire process will work, the logic, the algorithms, and etc. based on the architecture which has been already defined, and how the components will be interacting with one another. Now, once we define a software architecture, uh, it's not that like once we define, uh, this is a one-time activity, because over a period of time you might need to review. The reason we want to review architecture is because that over a period of time, two things can change. One, your business requirements can change. You might be needing, add more functionality, which might impact the architecture. So that you have to change the architecture. You might have to cater to those business requirements to change the architecture. I mean, and then change the architecture. That is one. The other thing may be because of the uh, new technologies, tools, and frameworks that have come up. You might want to take advantage of them in your architecture so that it can be improved. So basically, the goal of any architecture, any software architecture, is three. Basically, one is the security, one is performance, and one is the scalability. Of course, the usability and all those comes, but usability comes in the front end side. So responsiveness, that also comes in the uh, that depends on the architecture actually, but how the your business layer components are, sending the data to your user interface component. So that way the user interface will be more, I mean, easily functional. It will be fast, it will be user friendly and everything. But we are not going into those details, because we are concentrating on what software architecture is about to provide. I mean, it is meant to provide. So basically, it targets three things. We architect a system. When we architect a system, the objectives are threefold. One is the security of the system. One is the scalability, and the performance. And of course, it has to be cost effective. It has to, I mean, I can't come up with an architecture where I planned so many things without even considering the constraints. So when I say constraints, it may be the organizational constraints, because I have a cost boundary. I cannot, spend more on the architecture for that particular application. So those constraints are there. So parking that, we can say that these are the three main objectives of any architecture, any software architecture. Now the problem is that when we do reviews of a software architecture, if the process is manual, uh, it is any manual process is error prone, and it can take more time. It can be complex. I mean, adhering to the best practices and standards might take you more time. And ultimately the reviews will be challenging, because there will be time constraints. There will be, various dependencies, and catering to all those. Corner cases might become difficult for you, because it is a manual process. So the bottom line is, it takes more time. And at the same time, it can be error prone. You cannot say it is foolproof. Now, the thing is that we can say in .NET. I have been working in .NET for the last, I mean, from the time it came around, maybe long back in 2001. So in .NET, when I architect a system, of course, I take it to granted these three things that I was talking about: scalability, performance, and security. But the thing is that there are many frameworks available these days, several frameworks available, I will say, uh, which can be used to validate your architecture. But that comes in software design, not your architecture actually. So because you have to write code. Now, of course, so if when you model an architecture, and you say that okay, this is the way that the components will interact, and you define certain rules, like say I am working on a framework that can that can take in as an input an architecture. Any architecture given to it, it will go through it, and based on the rules that are predefined, that can be changed also because they are loosely coupled. They are defined in an XML file, in a JSON file also. Uh, so it will run through the architecture components and check whether there is any inconsistency, whether it is adhering to all the standards given. I'll give you an example. So say in an architecture, I want all business logic components should, of course, I'm coming to design actually, not architecture. So because I have defined a component called business logic, which is abstract, and I want all business logic components that are created in the business logic layer, they have to abide by the protocol. So when I say the protocol, and the protocol is that there is an interface called say iBusiness Logic, and all those classes have to compulsorily extend, implement that interface. In case you don't do that, I will be throwing an exception, because I am building so I am providing the framework for my developers to use it. Now, what happens is that my developers, what they can do is, let's say, they will run that those rules that are defined in this framework, and then whatever code they're writing, say they have written 5 classes, 5 interfaces, or 10 enumerations. So when they run against the compile code, when the compile code executes and they run against that checklist or the series of rules that is defined in the architecture, it will flag the inconsistency. It will display all non-adherence, all cases of non-adherence to the standards defined. So then it can be logged. So that way, what I'm doing is I am trying to centralize control, in the sense that I am defining an architecture and I am compiling the business logic layer or the business components to follow that. Now, in this case, if I do this manually, if I want to say run across all the business logic components and then check whether they are adhering to standards, and if I want to do that manually, it will be cumbersome. It will be taking a lot of time. Rather than doing that, I can take advantage of some AI tool which can do this for me. Like say, it will be running through that checklist automatically, and then it will be flagging that error, and it will be logging into the database or a flat file. So my developers will not have to write code each time they want to validate a particular component. So this is one of the advantages. Like you can check for anti-patterns, any violations of security violations in your code base, and then you can also check whether your architecture is scalable. So because when I say your architecture is scalable, I mean to say that architecture that has been translated into design, because unless it is translated to design, AI cannot do anything, because that is just a and that I will not say AI can do anything. AI can, but the thing is, it is better to provide AI the software design that is built using that architecture, so that it can display a list of all inconsistencies. Otherwise, what will happen is it will just have to take the diagram, the prototype, and run across the components. That way, we will not be able to come up with. That way we will not be able to leverage AI to that extent. So we want the architecture defined, the design in place, and then take advantage of AI to automate this process of checking the code for inconsistency as far as performance, scalability, defining standards that are predefined that we should follow. Then and all anything and everything, you can just run through that. Now I will tell you, like, in reality, when we define checklist, so that is when we define this checklist, and when we come up with these rules, where you can take advantage of AI, maybe an AI agent, where it will read your code, compile code, and then let you know what are all the violations. This process, this process is very, very important. If you do any mistake here, it would be detrimental to the entire process as a whole. The architecture, the design as a whole, because your defined rules, your defined checklist, your defined policies and guidelines, that cannot, there you cannot make any mistakes. So that is why if you check with using an AI agent, you would be able to know ahead of time if there are any anything which is inconsistent or anything that should not be there. So let me tell you where I have taken advantage of an AI agent recently in one of my projects. So I follow object-oriented programming, but I'm not that advocate of it. Object-oriented programming has been around for a very long time, but I follow object-oriented programming, but to an extent where it will not become a bottleneck for my application. Because when you architect an application, when you design an application, when you design the low level components, and eventually when you deliver that application, your client will not pay you more if you are using object-oriented programming, right? Because what all the client wants is the application should be responsive, high performant, scalable, and secure. So in doing that, whatever you have used, that is encapsulated to him naturally, because he's a businessman. He does not know about it, and he's bothered as well. Now I will tell you, these are my so these are my thoughts. Actually, I share it frequently in LinkedIn, in my blog as well. If you can take a look there, you can see, like, these actually will deviate from what object-oriented programming guidelines were defined. Decades back. My point is that I will. Based on object-oriented programming, even the solid principles also, to some extent, not to some extent, to a large extent, they have been, structured based on the object-oriented programming. Had object-oriented programming not been there, the solid principles would not have existed, because they thrive on that. Now let me tell you a problem. And here is why I will take advantage of AI agent. I will define rule, and these will be custom rules, of course, and I will define them because I have to deliver an application which has to be performant, scalable, and secure, and of course it should be usable, and the user interface should be responsive. Keeping that in mind, let's say in solid principles of software architecture, I hope you all are aware of solid. So in the very first principle, it says a single responsibility. So every class should have just one responsibility. One reason for change. You cannot have multiple responsibilities defined in a class. Now the problem. Let me tell you the problem. The problem is, in a typical application, let me tell you, say I have a class, I have a business logic class, some business logic, maybe product BL, maybe order BL, something. And in that business logic class, I have defined the business logic for that particular component. At the same time, I want to log data to say elastic stash. I want to log data to say Redis cache or maybe anything. Now, what Solid says is that your perspective should be like this, that you should isolate them, your business logic and your non-functional requirement, because this is logging, so they should be isolated. Well and fine, but whenever you try to follow these principles, especially solid end to end, if you follow that, you will come up with lot of classes, right? The more classes you have, the more objects your application will create, and of course it will be consuming more memory. So don't you feel that it will be detrimental to the performance? Rather, we can always club. I do this. I'm not saying that every one of you should follow that, but here is where I deviate. My thoughts, because I know that if I have a requirement like this, where I have say a microservice where I have the order BL. Say I am building a order microservice, and I have to log to say 3 different targets. One may be to Redis, one may be to a database, and one will be somewhere else. Now, for each and everything, if I always have, say, of course I will have a logging component, but say some custom logic will be written. So there may be some custom logic written into the product BL or in your business logic class. So I will not isolate that. I will keep it there. Let me tell you and provide another example. Say there is a class where it needs some dependencies. Say there is a class A which needs class B to work. So you can inject that as a dependency, or maybe you can. There are various ways to do that. But I usually what I do is I directly define it within the class A, so that the number of classes, the number of instances of, that are running at any point of time in my application come down. That way, I define my rules, and my AI agent will be running through those rules. So that is how you can take advantage of your custom rules being validated by artificial intelligence agents. Now, say okay, AI workflow and AI agent. That is a difference. I'm sure that many of you can have a confusion. So in workflow, there is a manual involvement. In AI agent, you don't have any manual involvement. Is not needed. It is something like this. Say I am defining a AI workflow. Let me just clarify this part, and then we will come back to the architecture and how we will take advantage of agents there. So here is a workflow, a very simple workflow. Say I create a workflow, and I say using some tool, whatever tool is there are plenty of tools available these days. So I define a workflow where I say that okay, I I want to send an email to a particular client of mine about a particular order, whatever that is, and then I want to send a message using Slack to that same client that an email has been already sent, and this is it's just a reminder. Now maybe I want to send say another maybe I will be sending another email to the same person, but for a different purpose. Say I will be sending the invoice to that particular client. So there are several steps there, but the thing is that this is an AI workflow, because in each and every case you are defining a workflow, but a manual input is must. Without a manual input, it cannot work. But say I define a workflow where I say that okay, I want an agent to. I want an agent. It cannot be a workflow, because here there will be some intelligence involved and it has to work autonomously. Like say, I want to know the climate in London. I can easily go to ChatGPT or any other LLM tool, and I can read it. I can get it from internet. From Google as well. I can say a better example will be say the number of you say I want to know the number of say uh, doctors, number of doctors at a particular place in or in London or throughout London. So I can easily use a LLM for this. But say I am saying that I want to catch a flight to London on a particular day based on whatever is, because I will be joining a conference there. So that is there in my calendar. Now, at the same time, I also want to know that know what is the climate there on the day that when I reach London. Now the thing is that if it is an AI workflow, because it needs manual intervention. Without manual intervention, it cannot work. So if you and it has a predefined path. So when you define it, if you say that okay, you go through going to Chat GPT or Google Gemini and then gather this information, it will not be able to understand about my schedule, like when I should have. When the conference is and when I should be booking the flight or whatever, because it does not have access to my calendar. Here is why I will say I will provide access. I will say I will attach a component which will read my calendar, and then from there on, it would schedule. It would be say booking a hotel or a flight accordingly. So all those components have been tagged. Now, let's say that I have to, my trip to London will be cancelled if certain conditions are not satisfied within this time. Say there are certain other meetings before till the time I go to London, and also post that. So based on that, maybe my schedule may change. So every time, whenever if you are trying to do it using workflow, you have to define another path, define another path of the workflows, so that it can understand what to do. So each and every time you have to intervene, you have to change it, and you have to provide it input so that it can read your calendar, run that logic, check that if these are the outcomes of the meetings. In that case, this should be the outcome. These trips should be cancelled and all those stuff. But agent, if you are using an agent, and if you provide it the input properly, the agent may be able to take this ahead. So the agent may be able to decide whether or not that particular your trip needs to be cancelled. So here is where the difference between agent and workflow needs. So just take away the manual input. If you take away the manual input and put a say an AI agent there, that is how the entire process works. So it may be the same workflow, but your manual intervention is stopped. You just provided the input that these are the ways, these are the reasons that this may be cancelled, this trip may be cancelled. So the agent will work accordingly. So it is an autonomous system that can perceive, reason, and act to achieve specific goals, and it operates in with minimal human intervention. Of course, you have to start that agent, and yes, it knows the context and learns from patterns and outcomes continuously, because this is very important. So, and this is the most important difference between agent, an AI agent, and an LLM, because an AI agent understands the context. So see here, like you have AI workflow and AI agent both in this diagram. In AI workflow, you see that the data, is ingested by the model, and then an email is sent. But in case of a agent, you are telling, you are saying a goal, you are defining a goal. Okay, so if the reasoning is this, it will be taking advantage of this tool and providing this feedback. So that means it has to take a decision based on the reasoning. So that way, it is unlike a workflow where it is having a predefined path. In case of an agent, this decision of how the flow will work, based on the reasoning, that will be that you don't have to manually intervene each time. This is the basic difference. So the context awareness and autonomy. Now, AI agents, they have limitations in architecture reviews, because even if you take advantage of AI agents to do architecture reviews, like we do these days, it may not have the complete architectural understanding. Hallucinations and precision issue. Hallucination means, let's say, when your agent is generating some output which is erroneous. Some output which is irrelevant. It is not relevant to your context. And it depends largely on the input and the data quality of data. Weak handling of ambiguity, reliability and safety gaps, integration and operational limitations, governance and security and complex concerns. So the thing is, when you perform a architecture review using an AI agent, there these limitations, if you want to address these limitations, there has to be manual intervention at each step. You cannot leave to it and hand over the architecture component for it to just go through and review and then provide an outcome, because in between each and every step there has to be a manual intervention to check whether what is being generated in each step, whether that is compliant with your defined standards, guidelines, and basically whether it is catering to your requirements. So an AI agent is not, it's not like that you will be using an agent and it will be doing everything for you, and you will not need any manual input. I will tell you an example here. Recently, in one of my projects, I was taking advantage of Copilot to it was just a testing measure. Like, I was trying to build a framework. It's a very simple one. First, manually, without taking advantage of any AI tool. Of course, Copilot, which is integrated in Visual Studio. So after that, I leveraged Copilot to design to come up with the same implementation, the same framework. What I found is that if you want to use Copilot to design your to implement your framework in its entirety, I don't feel that is a wise decision. I don't feel that will yield, the yield will be that great, because it will take a lot of time. I will tell you why. Say, I ask it to generate, say a logging framework. Now it generates a logging framework, but then it does not take several things into granted. Whether, for example, like the performance, whether the framework can be used with it, whether it can be hooked up with any other logging component to share the log, send the log. So many different things you have in mind, but every time, you have to change your prompt, you have to provide input, and again you have to see what it is getting, what is the yield from out of it. Rather doing that, I will say, like, I'm talking of Copilot here, which is integrated in Visual Studio. It is a very popular tool these days. So what I suggest is that, for to all my developers worldwide, is that use Copilot, but don't use it, to change. To generate an entire program or a component or a framework. AI is fine. Definitely it can help, but it may not be uh, providing you uh, an outcome, a framework, of course. Say in this case, which is cost effective, which is high performant and secure, and also scalable, because it may not be adhering to all the best practices, because each and every time you have to provide the right prompt to it. So that will be taking a lot of time. Rather than doing that, take advantage of the AI tools to cut down on the tedious jobs. Like, say, I have to write a few, say, 15 lines of code, which can be written by AI, and if I provide this prompt, it will be generating. There are no rocket science into that, and it can just generate it, and I can just copy paste and use it in my application. At the time when, say, I say, if I have to do some research with some component, some third party component, some some other third party framework, from .NET, say in this case, I can use it to help me generate the code which I need just for testing measure. So these things are okay, but it should not be that you are generating the entire framework or the entire component. You're creating the entire component end to end without manual intervention. It will never be to that level, at least what AI is today. Because don't forget, AI came uh, because human existence is there. It is mankind who has created AI, and not the reverse. So the practical takeaways for architecture reviews is that, uh, do not use agents to make your final decisions, uh, because even if it will review the architecture, it as I told you, that at every stage you should uh, check whether the outcome is correct, whether the outcome is what you expect out of it, whether it is adhering to the standards and guidelines. Because, like, it can, even if you are generating an agent which can autonomously go on doing the same thing iteratively, and then providing with your yield, but still you have to check it, and you have to see whether it is really worth it, and the final call is yours. Security, compliance to rules, uh, performance, and everything. When you see that everything is okay, you have to make maybe some changes to it, and then you can deliver that architecture. So without sorry without an explicit human in the loop, this can never be a success. Microsoft has come up with Azure well architected framework, which provides a report of evaluating a system, that is, like, say, any cloud native application that is hosted in Azure, deployed in Azure. So Microsoft has come up with a framework where there is a set of guidelines, say maybe 60 to 70 questions are there. So once you address those questions, or rather follow those guidelines, you that checklist, once you go through it, then cost optimization, operational excellence, performance, reliability, security, everything will be taken care of. To say, when eventually what happens is that if it adheres to these predefined rules, in that case your architecture for this particular, for your particular cloud native application, you can say that yes, it is uh, cost effective, high performant, and secure, and of course reliable as well. And also, so these are all the pillars, so that they're all defined. So once you have to answer all those questions. The moment you do that, all this will be taken all this will be taken care of. So it is a list of industry best practices for cloud architecture, which containing guidance, measurable quality indicators, and everything. So you can reduce the infrastructure costs. The risks can be mitigated. The workflows can be optimized, and everything. But again, don't forget, as I told you a few minutes back, that without manual intervention, you cannot have the right yield. You cannot come up with, the eventual call will be yours. So these are the pillars that have been outlined here. So this is how the an AI agent will evaluate your architecture. It will analyze the system design, review the configuration, and your infrastructure code, if it is, say, deployed in Azure, some cloud environment. Deviations from best practices. So non-adherence to the standards, the defined standards, it will check. We've already discussed this. And then security risks involved and everything. So any scalability factors, performance factors. So everything it can evaluate your AI agent. But the thing is, you can, so just from the literary meaning of this word, it is an agent. So it will be helping you. It cannot be a decision maker. Your cost of optimization review, when you do that using an agent, these are the opportunities that you have if you take advantage of the Azure architecture framework. Any underutilized resources, auto scaling configurations, inefficient storage. You have a security review as well, where the agent can detect your security vulnerabilities and compliance gaps. Any endpoints that are exposed and not being properly encrypted. So if your data is not secure, inadequate access controls, authentication, authorization problems, dependencies that are vulnerable to security threats. Performance efficiencies can be reviewed. Because it can review the bottlenecks in the in your architecture, the contention patterns, inefficient data access patterns, caching strategies. Maybe you have not used caching properly wherever you should have. So because performance depends a lot on the way you store your data, and then it can provide remediation steps. But then the thing is, your agent, whatever it comes up with, that is not the ultimate call. The ultimate call is yours. So you take that feedback, analyze it, and of course, at every iteration, in an iterative way, you should be checking the outcome, and then at the end, you have to see whether the outcome out of it, out of the review, is worth it, whether it conforms to your requirements, standards, and guidelines. And this is the implementation workflow. So you will scan, evaluate, report, and immediate. The benefits are these. These are the benefits. If you are using an AI agent for this, I mean, you especially you have reduced manual intervention. Review cycles will be faster. You can ship your applications faster. But at the same time, remember, your application should be catering to those three requirements. Especially one is security, performance, and scalability. If your application once deployed in production, if it is not high performant, if it is not secure, I mean, it does not use encryption properly, ultimately, I mean, the clients will suffer, and of course you'll have a bad feedback. So these are the key benefits. But again, we have to use the agent as an agent only, not someone which will provide us I mean, not someone which will be making the ultimate call in this. In the human collaboration model that I was talking about, you should be validating for the critical changes, feedback. I mean, loop. You take your agent, but then to repeat it, any repetitive task in your complete workflow. So that way, that can be that can be taken care of by your agent. So it'll have a time savings. The review time will reduce from weeks to hours, as it is written here. It will be drastically coming down. The quality, here is a catch. Quality, yes, defined on based on the standards that are defined, it will be able to check. But again, the ultimate call is yours. Risk reduction, yes, it will be able to do that, because whatever input it has, you have provided. Accordingly, the agent can do the review and provide you the feedback. And these are the future enhancements coming up in this in the AI agent frameworks. Like, say, today, as I was telling you, that the ultimate call has to be yours. You cannot bank on your agent to take the call. It cannot happen like that. You have to have your input, your manual intervention, and at the same time, I repeat, at each and every iterative step, you have to step in, check, review, and then go to the next step. If you can do that, then only you will see that you see that the yield out of a architecture review will be good. Otherwise, even it will be just sheer waste of time. But in future, I can say, maybe in the near future, this manual intervention can even it may be cut down even further. It will be minimal. As time goes by, it will be the manual intervention. If today it is say 10% of the total time taken, after, I mean, with the improvements in AI, with the improvements in the technologies over the years, it may come down to 5%, 3%, 2%, something like this. But again, manual intervention has to be there, because whatever AI, whatever advances I've seen in AI in my career, spanning almost 3 decades, I don't feel AI can be a replacement for human intelligence. That can never happen. I mean, at least not now. Maybe in the distant future, I can't predict, but then it's a matter of time. I mean, that can only tell. It's not that we can say that yes, it will be done. I mean, you always have to have a manual intervention. It cannot be that you will ask your agent, or maybe your agentic AI, which is a conglomeration of multiple agents. So you say that, okay, I need this application. You do the you design the architecture, you design the complete framework, the user interface, the backend side of it, and then you deliver. That this cannot be like this. I mean, I don't feel it will be happening in the very near future. But let's see. With advances in AI, this gap, like how much time you have to spend in reviews and how much time uh, the amount of time that will be reduced, that will go, that will increase. So if it is say 70% time of your time is being reduced today, maybe tomorrow it may be 90%. So 90% of your time, time is money. So for a business, that is what is wanted. Like an architect will be spending less time to review architecture. That is what the ask is as of now. Any questions? Or maybe if you can do one thing, like you can take my email from Pritham, and then you can shoot me an email with your questions, because I have designed and implemented quite a few frameworks in recent times, and I've taken advantage of AI. I'm also building a custom AI which will be adhering to the guidelines that I was talking about, where my thought processes they deviate from object-oriented programming. I don't follow it blindly. So I am defining certain rules. And if I come up with a application, framework like this, and then if I run through any guidelines defined by Microsoft in Azure platforms, it will throw a lot of errors, because it will be violating. So that is why what I am defining, this is just a custom framework for which I'm planning to make it public by sharing it in GitHub. So the objective is that for client satisfaction, for the ease of use of any application, what is the minimal architecture that can be designed without making things complex. Say, before I conclude, I will just tell you one question, a food for thought. I hope you all are aware of object-oriented programming, obviously, and encapsulation is one of the most important properties of OOPS. But my point is, what is the benefit of encapsulation? When you are encapsulating something, say in a class in Java or C#, in a class you have public and non-public members. So if you have non-public members, so that means they are encapsulated from the outside world, because it is not public. But then if you are having a non-public member, you need, and you are bound to have a public member to access it from outside. Don't you feel that is an overkill? Why will I do that? If I have some properties in the class, say take the simplest class as an example, say an employee class, and you have the properties like employee ID, first name, last name, address, and blah blah. Why should I hide them? I mean, why will why do I need to make them private? What is the harm in making it public? If you are making it public and you are making it private or whatever, protected, what is the difference? Like, if you are encapsulating, don't you feel that you are encapsulating from yourself? What will the client do by taking a look at your application? Will the client be interested in whether you have followed the principles of OOPS or the solid principles? Does it matter to the client? No, because he's a businessman. He will be paying you the money. He's least bothered. So don't you feel you are making your life tough? Let this be a food of thought. Join me. Give me some time. Like I am just as I told Preetham, I was recovering from a very bad cold. Maybe anytime next week, if you have, if you want to connect with me, you can get my email ID, and the link to my LinkedIn profile and also Twitter. So then we can sync up and then we can discuss. So and let this discussion go ahead. I mean, this is my thought, and you have to prove. I will prove that if I don't encapsulate, it does not harm my application at all. And you have to prove no encapsulation is needed. Don't say that okay, it is defined in these guidelines and that is why I will follow. Think from the perspective of the client. Of course, you have to take performance, scalability, and security in mind as well. Will it violate these three most important properties that I mean most important things that we need in an application that we can say is working fine in production? I mean, let us debate over this. Till then, have a nice time. So I will hand this over to Preetham to chip in and say something. Hey, Preetham.
Hi, Joydeep. Thank you so much for sharing your insights on one of the important topic today we have covered. And
Yeah. And actually, like the thing is, I in this session, I was running through the how I mean AI workflow, AI agent, and how AI agent can be leveraged in an architecture review. So this is not something that it can be discussed so quickly. So let me do this. I have another session in March. I suppose on 17th of March. I will provide you an example, a real life example where architecture reviews. If you use agents, AI agents, it will benefit. But then again, I'm repeating the same thing. The ultimate call is yours. Yeah, Pritam.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you so much, Joydeep.
No problem.
And yes, I would like to tell all the participants that I've already shared his LinkedIn profile link along with his email address in the chat box, and also will be having his another session. As he mentioned correctly, like in one session, of course, we won't be able to cover everything, right? So we have scheduled the another session of Joydeep on 17th of March. I'll be sharing the details shortly, and you can register as you have already registered, so you can use the same link to join the further sessions of this enterprise. So that said, Joydeep, I can see we have got two questions. Would you mind quickly to take these questions and then we can proceed with the closing?
Yeah, no problem at all. Tell me.
Wonderful. So Shweta Agarwal, she's asking, what is your take on the associated additional cost in using AI for reviews for ROI calculation purpose?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Okay. When if you are using AI and if you want to calculate the ROI, there are several factors that come into being, because when you are designing the architecture, as I was telling, that there are certain parameters that you have to keep in mind. The most important being cost. So if you want to, if you think of ROI, the return on investment, uh, uh, you have to use AI judiciously. That is a one-liner. If you don't, in that case, it may be an overkill. I mean to say, you have to take advantage of agent wherever it is needed. As I was telling, like about Microsoft Copilot, but never use AI agents to make your life tough, make your life harder, which eventually take more time, because if you are agent, you are not feeding it with proper prompts, it might not be providing you the correct yields. In that case, it will be wasting your time, your productive time. It may not be conforming to the standards and your requirements, so that eventually it will be impacting on ROI. So taking this into granted, I will say the best principle that you should follow is, when you have a business requirement. So why do we define an architecture? Sorry, we define an architecture because it is a solution to a problem. It provides a solution to a given problem. Now, once we have the problem at hand and we have the architecture, we leverage AI agents for the review. But then it might be providing a lot of remediations. At that particular time, you might have to decide whether say it has come up with five points A, B, C, D, E, but you see that the point D is not worth it for this particular application because you don't need to use it, and it will be incurring a lot of man hours. Say I don't need encryption. I don't need encryption when I am sending messages to a particular component. It will be an overkill. So that way you have to measure. So you have to measure the how much time involvement. So given your problem, when you define your architecture and then you come up with the reviews at the time when this